a topic that I really focus on these days is sustainability. This actually came from making personal changes in my personal life, in how I feed myself, how I take care of myself, of my home, which I spend most of the time in. There's a lot of toxic stuff that we don't really research too deep because it's available and we don't know the risks. And even with the research, we don't know the risks because we cannot research that deep to really find out everything. However, there are very good habits in general and also choices to make for yourself and how you can improve your day to day. They kind of go hand in hand. You have to have good habits to have good results, and also you need to have to make the changes. You need to create those good habits, and those good habits are based around the idea of what is healthy. I wanted to take you through what did I stop doing and what am I doing instead. One of the things that I actually did change a few months ago is making my own bread. And it sounds very silly. The reason I changed this was because I found it inconvenient to go to the store several times a week. This is just a weird quirk of mine. I just don't like to go more than one time a week because I don't like to spend extra money that, it's for food that would probably rot anyway. I was like, why not? Do I make my own bread? I am learning so much about sourdough just through, let's say, Instagram. I'm scrolling through. Why not try it myself? I do make loaves right now, and I do not buy bread in the store unless I want to, let's say, I want to have smaller buns or something for, I don't know, burger, whatever, if I'm craving one. Because of the sourdough, the process how you make it, you also discard some of the batter, and that batter can be used for other stuff. So I actually automatically get to make pancakes. So on the days that I might not have fresh bread, I'd be able to make pancakes, and those pancakes I can use for breakfast and lunch. I used to like to have a soda, let's say a Coca-Cola, once in a while. That is perfectly fine, but it's a lot of sugar. And I used to replace water with the soda, and then it was like, do I buy more soda or do I stop drinking soda? And the soda is basically, for me, it's easier to drink more than tap water or water in general. And to replace the soda and kind of to continue drinking water, I switched to mineral water with gas. That worked for a while, but still, I'm kind of fooling myself, I want the taste and I want the bubble, and I also want the hydration. So, yes, it's luxury problems, I know. Because I was already busy with the fermentation process and sourdough, and I was really invested in it, I started the ginger beer stuff as well. Basically, it's just a fermentation process. It's just ginger and just water, and creates carbonation itself, so it's not added, and there's not a lot of sugar in it, and it's still refreshing. Other thing I switched recently related to drinks is water. I used to buy bottled water, and I would drink usually just from the tap, which is it's fine here from my apartment, and here in Portugal it's drinkable. um, but for the recipes that I'm making, especially in fermentation, it's important to have filtered water. And I used to buy those bottles, and the bottles are a pain in the ass because they're like 6 liters, which is like 6 kilos, and you would have to drag it with you, or you have to go with the car, and you always have to think about it. Anyway, I got a filter to filter it from tap water. And in the end, this allows me to have far more water and not worry too much. It's instant. I can put it in the teapot or in the kettle, and I can also start using it straight away for the recipe if it has to be room temperatures, which I'm really happy about. So I did stop buying bottles, and the bottles that I have, if I take with me, So let's say I always have a bottle of water in my handbag. Then I fill the filtered water that I just made into the little plastic bottle. So I really, really try to avoid buying little bottles or any bottle of some sort just for throwing away. So better to reuse it. One of the other things that I'm really trying to be mindful of, but I'm still kind of researching and diving into, is using less toxic cleaning products. So I have switched several years ago, I think. Have switched to vinegar and water cleaning vinegar, and I was very happy finding it because it does leave a smell if you don't dilute it, but it's actually not a very unpleasant smell. And I really feel like it is cleaning it. And as of recent, I have actually gotten baking soda, as they call it, to add to that. And if you really have stains or greasy parts, the baking soda helps a lot. Eventually, I will take care of all the perfumated and stuff, the cleaning products, and just go really simple. So it is a process because eventually I would like to replace my dish soap as well. But I'm, finding my way into it, and that's just how it works. One of the bigger stuff that is related to all of these changes is me wanting to eat less produced food. I have made a very conscious choice to try not to buy anything that is already pre-made in some way. Of course, you still have a lot of products that will be processed even if you go the way of non-processed, but it just depends on what kind of process that is, right? So I would not buy soups or pastas that are kind of already done unless it's like convenient in some way, but I would really put it to a minimum. So, for example, I do buy everything from scratch. So I try to buy a lot of vegetables, and I do buy cheese and like sauce, tomato sauce, for example, which is processed. But I do really pay attention to it being super simple. And with cheese, of course, you will not avoid it, but cheese is also different process, also fermentation, also probiotics and stuff. So in that way, I don't feel bad about it. Purely for what I put in my body. I want to put as much like fresh food in my body, meaning something with the most nutrition, the most minerals, the most like stuff that is in fresh food. So almost like taking off the land. So really pay attention. Even stuff as like smoothies, juices, anything like that. I've learned along the way what they do and how they kind of break down the food, which turns into something else. I really try to avoid it. So if I do have something produced, then it's like it's easy or it's because I'm out and I cannot have anything else. I think it's just coming from what I've seen from my parents and grandparents and my background is actually keeping glass jars and bottles, plastic bottles even, and reuse them. So I have a full cupboard of all sorts of glass bottles and jars and plastic bottles and let's say little boxes that I can put food in. First of all, I use a lot of the boxes just to save food, so Tupperware stuff to like to store food in my fridge when I have leftovers. But also the glass jars are very useful if I make a sauce or something that I don't finish. I make my own broth, which I have to store in glass as well. All of this stuff fermentation wise usually needs to burp or needs to not be influenced by any, I don't know how to say it exactly, but I know glass is the best way to store fermented food, so that's what I do. I get them for free because I've bought something before. I keep the bottle and I reuse it. What I stopped doing as well is buying clothes that I don't need. This is very related to clothing for me, but also to a lot of household stuff. Like this, a lot of fun and cute stuff to fill your home with, but I just don't buy because I always question, will I really enjoy this in like 2 years? Will I still have it? Will I throw it out? Will I exchange it? And if yes, do I then really need it? Or can I make it myself? Or can I find another alternative? Can I find it like through, let's say, a local maker? So I not only have it, but also support someone that made it. And all of those things are very important for me to think about whenever I have the urge to buy, because it's very easy, yeah, it's easy to get tempted to buy it, convincing yourself that you need it and then not use it. And especially if your salary and your budget is small, what's the point in spending the money on those things? Unless, of course, it's like your hobby, unless it's something that feeds you or something that you really enjoy. But if it's just to fill kind of like this itch, or like to cover the itch, it's not worth it in my opinion. This is a small detail. I don't know if everyone will relate to this, but I have this thing. I find it super annoying. If you go to the supermarket, you have all those spices. Every spice mix or whatever is in their own like little jar. Why do I want to repurchase a glass jar? I do not want to repurchase a new glass jar because I already have a jar. I'm really mindful of not buying more stuff that I will have to trash. So whenever I buy spices, I really try to find a bag because I already have so many glass little pots, jars, whatever you call them, with spices. Of course, unless it's a completely new spice, you can, but I try not to. The silly thing I did, and you can call me, I don't know, whatever person, hippie for this, but I even used the old packaging of gum, like the bigger pots of gum, for spices because they're actually having two openings. They have a small opening and a big opening, and it's perfect for spices. Some of the spices you can only buy, especially if you go to the Asian supermarket, you can only buy in a bag. So once you open the packaging, you really have to close it properly, or you put it in one of those jars with the other stuff as well. Why do I need to buy this small packaging of like 10 small pre-packed stuff if I can buy one big one and I maybe already have like little stuff to put it in, so I can do it myself. So not only save money probably because I buy bulk, but I also save a lot of trash that I will eventually have to, throw out.